You slide into my mentions with your unsolicited truth. You already can, like that's supposed to help me like I never knew. You wanna debate, but you don't want a solution. You want me performing my pain for your amusement. You assume I'm not serious, assume it's for attention. Assume if you argue long enough, I forget what I mentioned. I am not looking for attention, I am looking for a right. Those are not the same thing, no matter how you spin the fight. You said, go to another country, like I should have to flee to exercise a right over my own body. Either I own my life or I don't. Which one is it? Say it to my face, say it. You already can. You think that's an answer. You already can. You think that's kind. No reasonable person chooses a cliff over a clinical death, and you know that. So if you take away the dignified option and leave me the violent one and call that a choice that is forced, and you know that too. You can rob a man at gunpoint, telling me he had a choice. He could have taken a bullet, does that make it not forced? The gun doesn't disappear because an alternative existed. The coercion doesn't vanish because you can point at the cliff and say, technically no reasonable person accept that logic in any other context. But the moment I raise it, suddenly everyone's a philosopher. Suddenly everyone has opinions about a life they don't own, about a body that isn't theirs, about a decision that was never up for debate. You say go to another country, like I should have to flee to exercise a right over my own body. Either I own my life or I don't. Which one is it? Say it to my face, say it. You already can. You think that's an answer. You already can. You think that's kind. No reasonable person chooses a cliff over a clinical death, and you know that. So if you take away the dignified option and leave me the violent one and call that a choice that is forced, and you know that too. Let me address you specifically, the one typing the response right now. You are not engaging in good faith. You are not here to change anything. You showed up to perform concern, to feel like you did something while doing nothing. You don't support my right. Fine, say that, own it, but don't hide behind. You already can, like it's an argument, like it's compassionate. Like pointing at a cliff is the same thing as supporting my dignity. If I own my life, you have no opinion, you have no standing, you have no seat at this table. Your feelings about my death are not my responsibility. Your comfort is not my problem. You do not own me. And the moment you act like you do, the moment you tell me to debate, to wait, to go elsewhere, to perform my sincerity for your satisfaction, you have told me everything I needed to know about whose life you think this is. You already can. I already know. That's not the point. Either I own my life or you do. Pick one and say it out loud. Because if I own it, your opinion is just noise. And if you own it, then stop pretending this was ever about me. You already can. I know, I've always known. The question was never whether I could. The question was whether I deserve better than a clip. And your answer, dressed up in concern, wrapped in debate, hidden behind suggestions of other countries and other options. Your answer was no, just say no. It's more honest than you already can.
Hi everybody. Let me change this screen. So I decided to play the whole thing just because I know people are not listening to that soundtrack, but the song basically explains everything that I've been saying. Because every time I bring up this issue, they want to gaslight me and talk about how I already can, as if I don't already know that. Clearly, I don't want to do that. Clearly, I've already considered that. And some of these people are insulting because they'll talk about how I'm so intelligent, yet they think that the solution is to mansplain things that I already know. some of you were complaining because you said you couldn't hear my last live stream. So some of the things I'm going to be saying today are going to be repetitive based on the live stream I just did the other day. But I guess you won't have any music, so you'll just be able to hear me clearly. So I'm just going to just address these arguments as opposed to responding to the nonsense that the gaslighting. Yeah, that shit was so obnoxious. So I'm just going to get to it because people are making a lot of assumptions, and I'm not trying to pimp my book out on people, but it's like I compiled all of this case law, all of these arguments, and I do talk about it on my channel, but some people are new to my channel. So every time they come to my channel, I have to start over from scratch, right? I have to explain things that I have already explained. These people are coming from a position of ignorance, and because they don't know basic shit, and I'm supposed to derail my conversation to explain to them things that I've already explained. So I will say, go read my book because you're fucking ignorant, and maybe you can get up to speed, and then we can have a real conversation. Now, that maxed out architect of humanity, he was ignorant as fuck. So I know some of the things I'm going to be saying are going to be repetitive, but unfortunately, I have to do this just because people have not read my book and because people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Now, let's start out with the medical profession. I am against occupational licensing because it's just a gatekeeping tool to prevent people from having access. They claim that occupational licenses increase competency, increase the standard of care, right? But they don't. They're completely self-serving. It gives the state, it's a state-granted monopoly, which prevents you from exercising choice. And now you're relegated. So this maxed out person was saying that because I want medical assistance, that I'm begging for permission from the state. I'm asking the state to assist me. Ignorant as fuck. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. First of all, as I state in my book, most of these professions did not always have a monopoly. The legal profession, the medical profession, most of these occupational licensing requirements came during the 1930s when everyone was distracted with the Great Depression. I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories, but like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, maybe I'll do a separate live stream to talk about that in detail about how these occupational licensing came into being. They did curate the education system to create a managerial class of oppression. But you basically can become middle class through their carefully orchestrated educational system. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but I can discuss that later. Because some of it does get conspiratorial, but I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm just going to say that they did lobby states to create occupational licensing. It's not as if these occupational licenses these occupational licenses always existed. They did not. Most of them came about during the 1930s. And specifically what I'm talking about right now is the medical license. Prior to the 1930s, there were no medical licenses. People practiced medicine without a license. There were holistic healers. There were homeopaths. And there were actual doctors, but they were not licensed by the state. Most of them were, they were kind of self-taught. You basically have to become an apprentice. You had to find a current practitioner who would teach you what they knew. And there was no FDA or anything like that. Most doctors experimented on themselves. They had a very specialized area of practice. You can look at I know Freud was a psychologist, but Back then, they did not have any institution to guide them on which medicines to prescribe. They actually tested the pharmaceuticals on themselves. So if you know anything about Freud, Freud was heavily sedated with opioids because he was testing them for his patients. But this is what doctors did back then. So there's a lot of assumptions that people make about America's history, about government authority. They're coming from a position of complete ignorance. I can't debate people like that because it's like you're incorrigible. I'm trying to correct you, but you don't want to be corrected. You just really want to go down that ignorant rabbit hole, and you don't want to get off track. You just want to remain ignorant, and then you think that I should take you seriously, and then you want to say that I'm the problem, that it's because I'm crazy. No, you just need to read a fucking book. And I don't want to be insulting, but I was as patient as I could possibly be. I was trying to, and he just kept over talking me. He wanted to be ignorant. He didn't want to learn. And most of the people don't want to learn because they have their own agenda. They're too arrogant to recognize their own limitations. I'll be the first one to say I don't know stuff, but I mean, I don't know everything. I'm not going to defer to other people, but I'm not going to speak on things that I don't know. If I don't know something, I need to research it. No, I don't trust other people to educate me. And I'm not saying you should even defer to my book. Although I do have all these citations, if you don't believe what I'm saying, then you can verify the citations, you can cross-reference and see if anything that I said was false. So the American Medical Association lobbied states so that they could give themselves a monopoly. The unauthorized practice of medicine statutes, they exist in every state in America. And now this is universal. It's in most countries, most civilized countries. They act like civilization is so wonderful, but it's the most oppressive system ever. I don't support civilization. I don't support the fucking state. So once they gave themselves, so I don't know if you guys know what that means, because I was about to just go ahead, but I'm not going to make assumptions. It's the same thing with the unauthorized practice of law. It basically means that anyone who practices medicine or law or any other profession without a license has committed a crime. Not just a misdemeanor, but it is a felony. You cannot earn a livelihood in these vocations without being licensed from the state. So not only does it prevent the practitioner from providing their services, it also prevents the public from receiving access to those services. Now you no longer have a choice on who you want to assist you in whatever it is, whether it's plumbing, whether it's accounting, whether it's law, whatever it is, you're relegated to whoever the state allows you to hire, and you have to pay their fees because it creates an artificial scarcity which allows them to jack up their prices because now they get to eliminate their competition. It's animus laid bare. This is a legal term. Animus laid bare. It does not serve any legitimate state purpose, any legitimate public purpose, just to give them a monopoly, just to give them an economic advantage. Completely unearned. This is why their wealth is ill-gotten. They didn't actually win it. They didn't earn it. They got it just by using the state's monopoly on violence to eliminate competition. So now, if you want someone who is not licensed by the state to provide medical services, they are not allowed to provide those services, and you are not allowed to hire them. Again, you have to read my book because I explain this very thoroughly. And so once the American Medical Association gave themselves a monopoly, then they sought to criminalize medical assistance in dying, because now their argument is if doctors assist people, now they're being harmed. Now the whole Hippocratic oath of do no harm is, now they're acting like they're the victims. They gave themselves a monopoly, and now they're saying, okay, well, we're the only ones who can provide medical services, but now that we have it, oh, we're going to gatekeep and say that, oh, if we provide this service, now you're harming us. We're the victims. We don't want anybody else to provide the service, but if we have to provide it, then we're the victims. Mind you, again, I've talked about this already, so I find it very annoying that I have to repeat myself. I feel like this is a progression. Once I explain it, I shouldn't have to keep talking about the same thing over again. But again, there are new people to the channel. The American Medical Association filed this amicus curiae in the Washington versus Glucksberg case, in which they laid it out, explaining why doctors should not assist or facilitate determination of someone's life. The American Medical Association was posturing. It was pretending to, or purporting to, speak on behalf of the entire medical profession, when in fact there were many doctors who wanted to provide medical assistance. In fact, I mean, there's a short citation in the law, which is called et al. So the short citation is Washington versus Glucksberg, but there were many other parties to that case. It was the doctors that were actually being sued by the state. The doctors wanted to assist Glucksberg, or no, Glucksberg, let me get this correct. Glucksberg was one of the doctors that was trying to assist someone. So these guilds, these organizations don't represent the public, and they don't even necessarily represent the practitioners. They represent the practitioners to the extent that they do facilitate a monopoly to eliminate competition. So they get more earning capacity. They get to make a lot of money, but when it comes to representing their interests in terms of the type of practice they want to have, no, they don't represent them at all. They actually go against their interests. And I don't want to go into the detail about that, but many of these practitioners don't support the licensing requirements, because I know doctors don't support medical licensing, or at least the way they're currently structured, because if they're licensed in one state, that license does not carry over into another state. There is no reciprocity. The medicine is exactly the same, but they are not allowed to practice in another state, because the ulterior motive is to eliminate competition. So they don't want doctors. It's like if you're a drug dealer. You're on my turf. Get off my corner. I don't want to compete against you. In fact, drug dealers will actually delete people for trying to usurp their territory. So this is what these practitioners are doing. This is what this occupational licensing is like. These are just a bunch of thugs who use violence to give themselves an unfair advantage. They don't want to compete. Now, that's the Cliff Notes. It's a lot more complicated than that. I just wanted to give an overview for those who are ignorant and they just need a basic understanding of it. I'm just not going to debate people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, you can ask me questions and I can explain it to you, but if you're just trying to overtalk me and you just don't want to learn, in the future, I'm just not going to tolerate that. I don't know what, I must have been really off that day because I didn't boot that person from the panel. This person clearly was gaslighting and trying to derail the conversation. I should have just kicked him out. I don't know why I wasted so much time. I just assumed that he was arguing in good faith and maybe he actually wanted. wanted to learn, but he clearly did not want to learn. He was gaslighting. He was trying to antagonize me. And the proof is his final comment, which was that I need to seek help. And I'll get back to that too, because they have a motive for telling you to get help. So when people, the reason why I went through all of that is because when I say that I want to decriminalize it, they're automatically assuming that I'm asking for permission from the state. I want the state to facilitate it. No, I want the state to get the fuck out. I want the state to stop gatekeeping. The state should have never been involved in the first place. What I'm trying to do is roll back the hands of time. I'm trying to revert things back to the way they were under common law, the way things were under natural law, when they did not have a monopoly, when there was no fucking state gatekeeping. The state, it should have never been involved in the first place. So when I say I want to decriminalize it, I don't know what these staters think. I'm literally saying I want to decriminalize it, but in their pea brains, they think that I want to legalize it and I want the state to give me a right that I don't have. No, that's not what the fuck I'm saying. Are you fucking retarded? Did you listen to a word that I fucking said? He's not the only one who's done it. Several of these people have done it. I'm literally telling you what I want, and then you say the complete opposite. I say decriminalize, and then you keep saying, oh, you want to legalize it. You want a special right. Did I fucking say that? No, I did not say that. Maybe you don't know what decriminalization means, but because you're ignorant and you don't want to admit your own limitations so that I can actually correct you, you just want to straw man me and then try to dominate the conversation. Your Denny Kruger effect of the people who are the most ignorant are the most vocal. And because I have good manners, I don't want to be insulting and just outright say that you're fucking stupid, when in fact that's what you actually are. I just tolerate it because I'm just thinking, okay, maybe at some point you'll say something intelligent. Maybe you have a point that I'm just not considering, but it never fails. There is no fucking point. That's why I just feel like I shouldn't even hear them out. I should not even give them the benefit of a doubt, because I'm thinking at some point they're going to make sense and maybe they'll actually get to the fucking point, but they never do. I'm always disappointed. I don't even think that I'm incredibly intelligent. I don't know. I think I have a certain type of intelligence. I certainly don't. I mean, whatever. But I don't like being the smartest one in the room. I don't. I like being around people who are smarter than me, somebody who can actually teach me something. I don't like arguing with stupid people. I don't like people. And it's not, okay, it's not that I feel superior to other people. I feel that if there are people who don't know what I know, then I can teach them if they're willing to learn. What I don't like is arguing with people who don't know what they're talking about, and they're acting as if they're on my level. Again, I don't know everything, but on this specific topic, yes, I'm well versed. I know the history. I know the law. You're not going to argue with me. You're just not. Maybe you can argue me about something else, whatever your area of knowledge happens to pertain to. But on this topic, no, you're not. You're not going to do that. I'm wasting my time. In the future, I'm just going to cut the conversation short. I'm just not going to debate ignorant people. So you're making an ahistorical fallacy. You're making a lot of assumptions about history, about how things came into being. You're taking away the context. You're assuming that the medical profession has always had a monopoly over the practice of medicine when they did not. You're assuming that there's not anybody who's willing to provide these services who currently are not licensed by the state. That if the state were to get out the way and stop gatekeeping, maybe I would actually have access to those services without the state. You're just going to assume that because I want to decriminalize it, that I want a special privilege from the state, when that is the exact opposite of what the hell I'm saying. And that's why I get frustrated, because I don't know what people know and what they don't know. I'm just assuming because they're so confident, I just assume that they have basic knowledge. And then when they just get louder and keep over talking me, I'm like, you're just gaslighting me. I'm trying to explain it to you, but you're not even letting. You're coming on my channel over talking me because you don't want to hear the fucking truth. Now, I'm going to explain the difference between legalization and decriminalization. And even though I'm doing this, I feel like it's a waste of time because there's still going to be people coming up here being ignorant. This knowledge is not going to sink in. They want to be ignorant. And this is the reason why I don't think it is worthwhile to save them. They don't want to be saved. They want things to be as they currently are. These people are fucking incorrigible. They are the fucking problem. It's not just the state. It's the people themselves. The people are the master state. Notice that when I do my live streams, presumably there are no state actors that are coming on my channel. These are everyday citizens, law-abiding slaves who want to articulate the position of the state. There was no judge, there was no lawyer, there was no police officer. These are just everyday people. And these everyday people are championing for the position of the state, doing the state's dirty work, trying to gaslight me, trying to tell me that I should not have a natural right, which I should already have. Because this is the reason that the state does what it does is because of people like them. They are the reason that we are oppressed. They support the oppression. The oppression comes from them. It comes from the bottom up. So for those who say I should not blame the public, I should just blame the state. No, this is not my first time at the rodeo. I know how this shit works. I know that it comes from the bottom up, that the state does what it does because of these people. So they are the fucking problem. And that's why I'm not going to waste my time fighting for them. They want this system to be exactly the way that it is, which is why it is the way that it is. Fighting for them is a lost cause because they are the fucking problem. I can't help them. I need protection from them. Those who want to be liberated, those who take the position of give me liberty or death, you're not going to get liberty. These people don't want to be liberated. The only thing you can do is escape their fucking matrix, and setting up a fucking township is not going to get you out the fucking matrix. For those of you who couldn't hear my live stream the other day when I had the Skeletor music, what I was saying is that a township is a political subdivision of the state. It is not independent of the state. A township is not sovereign. A township does not issue occupational licensing. It does not change laws. I guess maybe they can issue ordinances, but those ordinances can't contradict state law. Their primary duty is to facilitate state law, to facilitate services within the framework of the state law. So they don't operate outside of the state. They do not. They're part of the fucking state. So this person was mansplaining me shit that I already know, shit that I am well versed in, shit that I have litigated thoroughly. Instead of asking me questions, I mean, again, I don't want to be arrogant, but I'm an expert on this topic. I am. I'm a fucking expert because I have gone toe to toe with some of the best litigators in the fucking state, at the state level and at the federal level. I know the case law, I know the statutes, I know the fucking constitutional law. So every solution that they present, they act as if I haven't considered it, as if I don't already know. And their solutions are always bullshit. It's always incrementalism. It's always shit that is the complete opposite of what I want. They're never going to give you the liberation that you actually want. They're never going to get the state's foot off your neck. They just want to keep you, they want you to be a sitting duck. They want you to be perpetually oppressed. They don't want you to have it. They're not going to fight for your liberation at all. Remember when I was talking about how they don't support freedom? He didn't even know what I was talking about. This is a foreign language to him. He doesn't even consider it. And then, of course, his whole channel, he's acting as if he's some type of freedom fighter, right? You don't even support self-ownership. You don't even think that we own our lives. You think that we're owned by the collective. If you don't believe in self-ownership, then you don't believe in freedom. Self-ownership is the cornerstone of all freedom. I've explained this in my book. According to John Locke, let me make sure I get this right. The right to property includes the right to life, liberty, and the estate. The Supreme Court got it completely wrong where they framed it as a liberty interest versus a property interest, as if a property interest is not a liberty. They're three domains of the same thing, of personhood. So your life is a property interest. Your liberty is a property interest, and your estate is a property interest. I know this is a little bit legalistic. Some people don't know what this actually means, but it is important. It is important because of how they frame it. Because when they frame it as, when they frame it as a liberty interest, what it means is that unless there is an enumerated right, then the state does not have to recognize it. But when it is a property interest, if the state, it's called a regulatory taking. When a state imposes a regulation which takes away property, the state has to compensate you. So my argument is that the state has engaged in a regulatory taking by criminalizing medical assistance in dying. The state has effectively taken your life without due process of law. The state has effectively taken away through a regulatory taking, by the way, your use of your own property, your use of your own life. It's supposed to be your life, but you don't get to do what you want with it because the state is interfering. Of course, this ignorant motherfucker is not going to read my book to actually understand the full extent of it. He just wants to come on my channel and fucking gaslight me. So legalization means that the state is creating a new program or a new regulatory code to give you a right, which states, by the way, the Constitution does not create rights. It can only enumerate rights. But again, this is positive law. That's what we're talking about right now. Positive law can absolutely violate natural law. They can create positive law that will take away your natural rights, that will prevent you from exercising your natural rights. Again, I tried to explain this to him. He didn't want to learn. He just wanted to overtalk me. He wanted to remain ignorant. That's the whole purpose of this litigation. When the state has run amok and the state is violating your natural rights, then the state has to be reined in. That's why people prosecute these damn cases when there is government overreach. And he's telling me, Oh, the state can't violate your natural rights? Yes, the fuck they can, you dumb piece of shit. The state does it every day, all day, every day. The state can violate your right to work, which I'm just going to call it a right to earn a livelihood. That's what I call it in my book. A right to maintain your life. It's supposed to be your life. So if it is your life, then you have a right to maintain it, which means that you have an inherent right to earn a livelihood. But you don't even have that right because you can't earn a livelihood without a license from the damn state. Again, property includes the right to life, liberty, and the estate. You can't maintain your state, you can't maintain your life, and you can't maintain your property without the ability to earn a livelihood. All these things are interconnected. I know it's complicated, but that's why I wrote the damn book, to try to tie it all together. Now, conversely, decriminalization is removing the fucking gatekeeping. It's the complete opposite of legalization. It's not giving you a special right. It's basically saying the state is not legalizing it, but it is not going to deploy violence for those who choose to do it. So, for example, there is a stark difference between legalizing marijuana and decriminalizing marijuana, or technically, like use the term cannabis. If you legalize it, then the government regulates it. They put all of these stipulations and increase the cost of your ability to access it because of their fucking gatekeeping. Who's allowed to sell it? They got to get a permit. They got to get a license and all of this fucking minutia. That's what legalization gets you. Decriminalization is the complete opposite. There is no licensing. There is no permit. There is no fucking gatekeeping. So for those who are too fucking stupid to understand the difference, I don't know what to tell you. I think you're a fucking lost cause. These are two different things. Now, to get back to this context, the Medical Association, because there's the American Medical Association and then there's state medical associations. The American Medical Association is basically the lobbying force that creates universal policies, but they don't really have any institutional power beyond the fact that they do lobby for state policies. But the state medical associations are not voluntary, they're involuntary, they're compulsory. These are guild. Well, okay, the American Medical Association is a private guild, but they do have a lot of institutional power. In fact, the Supreme Court deferred to the American Medical Association in that Glucksberg's case. So you give them a monopoly, and then they get to gatekeep. Then they get to act like they're the victim. Oh, the doctors would be harmed if we were expected to perform these services. There may be doctors who don't want to perform them. They're going to be forced. Okay, who told you, motherfucker, to give yourself a monopoly in the first place? It's completely self-serving. You benefit from it because you get to jack up your prices because you eliminate all competition. And now you want to act like you're the fucking victim, and you're not. So to claim that because I want to decriminalize medical assistance in dying, that I am somehow begging the state for permission is the complete opposite of what I'm actually doing. The state should have never had a monopoly in the first place. The Medical Association should have never had a monopoly. It should have never been criminalized to practice medicine without a license. It never should have been criminalized for you to have the right to medical assistance in dying without, well, it's, I'm not even going to say without a license because it's just decriminalized. You don't have a right to medical assistance in dying. And let's not even talk about the medical assistance part. It is against the law for you to receive any type of assistance, any type of emotional support, logistical, financial, any type of support at all. I've already gone through state statutes. I've talked about it on this channel. I've talked about it in my book. Because people are ignorant, because people are illiterate, they don't want to read, I have to keep repeating myself. I know people don't want to read, which is why I read my book. I read all fucking 11 chapters, which I did not enjoy doing, by the way. But I wanted to make it accessible for those who don't want to read. I did not enjoy doing that at all. In fact, I felt that I was spoon feeding. I don't understand why people don't just fucking read the book. But I did it anyway. Because I thought it was important. And yet people still complain. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay for your book, despite the fact that I made it available for free several times, despite the fact that I've read it and it still is available for free online. Despite the fact that I will open up my channel for live streams to actually explain some of these things, and yet they still don't want to receive the information. They want to overtalk me and try to mansplain shit that I've already researched thoroughly. Natural rights are not given by the state. These are pre-political rights. They exist independent of the state. Now, the Ninth Amendment says this expressly. The U.S. Constitution shall not be construed to disparage rights retained by the people. That is a rule of construction. It is telling you that the Constitution does not create rights. It only enumerates certain rights. It's not exhaustive. There are rights that were not included in the damn Constitution. In fact, it doesn't create rights at all. The purpose of the Constitution was to limit the state's power. To say the state can't do this, the state can't infringe on your First Amendment, the state can't seize you without probable cause. The state can't establish a religion, excessive bail, all that shit. All of those, the Bill of Rights, those are limitations on the state's power. They do not create rights. The purpose of the social contract, if you understood anything about political theory, and again, I don't want to antagonize people because I'm really not that arrogant. I don't like to sound like I'm just that's not how I see myself. But when people are that fucking ignorant, I can't have a rational conversation with you because you just don't want to learn. Thomas Hobbes basically explained that the state of nature is a war against all. I don't agree with Thomas Hobbes. I'm just going to tell you what he said. The purpose of the state is to form a social compact in which you're not in a state of nature where you're in a war against all. Now the state has a monopoly on violence, and the state is supposed to protect your natural rights. It's not creating your natural rights. It's just basically saying you don't have to fight for your natural rights yourself. You don't have to deploy violence to protect your natural rights because the state is going to do that for you. So you give up your freedom so that the state can protect you. The problem is now the state has become an unhinged monster to where it's not actually protecting your rights. It's just enslaving you. It's doing everything but protecting your rights. It's taking your rights away and reducing them to privileges in which the state actually has more quote unquote rights than the actual people. By the way, states can't have rights. That's not even what the 10th Amendment says. States don't have rights. They only have privileges and duties. They can have power or they can have authority, and that authority comes from the consent of the governed. But the state can't have more authority than the individuals have over themselves. So because the state is a collection of individuals, if individuals don't have authority to give a right away, then the state does not have that because it's based on the consent of the collection of individuals. So if an individual does not have authority to give away my life or take away my right to die, then the state doesn't have it either. If individual assholes can't tell me that I don't have the right to die, because it's nowhere in the Constitution does it say that you don't have a right to die or that the state has authority to force you to exist against your will. It does not say that anywhere. The state is acting ultra vires. There is no textual authority for it. The most foundational natural right is the right to self-ownership. You own your life. You own your body. You own your property, your mind. From that flows the right to enter into private contracts, to seek help from others in maintaining your life. You know what? I said I was going to review that philosophy of liberty. I need to do that again. I do that periodically, but I need to do that again because I think people have forgotten these basic concepts. So I'm going to review the philosophy of liberty. Yeah, I think people need to understand the basics. So the state's positive law are only legitimate when they align with natural rights. When those statutes are created to protect your natural rights, then in theory they're legitimate because they serve a legitimate state purpose. This is why I'm an anarchist, because they don't serve that purpose. They go against your natural rights. They prevent you from exercising your natural rights. Laws which violate your natural rights are inherently illegitimate. It does not require a Supreme Court declaration. No opinion. No, they're just outright illegitimate. There's no authority for it. It's not based on consent. It's not based on anything. It's based on naked brute force. It's based on the fact that the state has a monopoly. The state has men with guns who can force you to submit and comply. And those laws are completely illegitimate. The enforcement of those laws is illegitimate. You have no duty to comply. You specifically don't have a duty to comply with their illegitimate criminalization of medical assistance in dying. They have engaged in a regulatory taking of your life against your consent. The state does not have any legitimate authority to force you to exist against your will. The mere fact that the majority supports it, it does not reduce your right to a privilege. Individual rights cannot be put to an individual vote. Individual rights belong to the individual. They are your rights, regardless of what other people think. They don't have the legitimate authority to take that right from you. So it does not require the state. The state should have never been involved in the first place. When you seek any type of medical assistance, at least prior to the damn state and their damn monopoly over the practice of law, it was always considered a private contract. The state was never involved in it. Now, as I said in my book, the disposable rights test proves who actually owns your life. Your life is, you have a property interest in your life. In order to have property rights, you have to have disposal rights. Disposal rights determines ownership. If you can't dispose of your property, then you don't own it. You do not have the right to dispose your life, which means you don't own your life, which means that you're a fucking slave. The state fucking owns you. You're owned by the fucking collective. And yet you're forced to maintain your voluntary existence at your expense. Why should you have to pay for something that you don't own? All these people want to say in what you do with your life, yet they got champagne taste with tap water money. They're not paying for shit. They're not paying for your housing expenses, your student loans, not paying your car note. Yet these people have so many fucking opinions about what you should do with your life. How about you pay some of my fucking bills? How about you pay my fucking student loans? Since you have so many fucking opinions. Now let me talk about this get help bullshit. The reason that they tell you to get some psychiatric help is because they're fucking cowards. This is toxic masculinity. They're too pussy to stand up to the fucking state. They don't want to do that because that takes too many risks. They don't want to punch up because they might actually lose. So the only thing they can do is punch down. Only thing they can do is pathologize you and talk about how you're crazy, because that allows them to feel like they have some type of power, even though they really don't. So they can mansplain to you, try to make you look stupid or make you look like you're fucking crazy. And then they get to feel secure in their manhood, even though they're really the stiffest bitch. Oh yeah, I dominated you, so I'm a man. No, you're the systems bitch. You just are. But you don't want to admit your own limitations, so you want to come and gaslight me and say, "Oh well, you already have the right." And I don't know. I think you assume that you can dominate me. You really can't. At least not intellectually. You're not even close to being on my level. You're just not. Again, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but some of these motherfuckers are just stupid. So it's easy to tell you to just get help because they don't have to do anything. It's a cop-out. Go call 988. I don't have to get my hands dirty. I don't have to do anything to help you fight for your rights so that I can get the state off your fucking back. Getting some, I don't know what they think. They think that talking to somebody is going to fix your problems. Talking to somebody is not going to get you a better job. Talking to somebody is not going to pay off your student loans. Talking to someone is not going to prevent the road pirates from fucking harassing you. It's not going to dismantle these illegitimate occupational license requirements. It's not going to do anything substantive to change your quality of life. But what they're saying is that, oh, these systemic problems don't exist. You're the fucking problem. You're the problem because you're preventing our extraction. We want to extract from you. We want you to be productive. What that guy said, what that fucking troll said, was that I'm intelligent and I could potentially be beneficial to other people. This is the same thing that DNW said. Why don't you use your intellect to help other people? Because they want to extract. They don't give a shit about your liberation. They want you to be productive. They want you to benefit them. Meanwhile, they don't pay for shit. They don't want you to have liberty or death. They want you to be enslaved. And the root cause of all suffering, according to Buddhism, is attachment. They want you to be attached. They want you to focus on other people, focus on a system, don't focus on yourself. They want you to be tethered. So you don't get to escape the plantation because other slaves don't want to escape. And now you're supposed to stay behind and be enslaved along with them. Because they're too fucking stupid and feckless to leave the damn plantation. You already asked them. You told them to come along with you. They wanted to fucking stay. And now they want to guilt trip you, say that you should stay along with them. You should be enslaved in perpetuity and just accept subjugation because they're too fucking stupid and cowardly to leave the damn plantation. Now you're supposed to be whipped. Now you're supposed to be sexually assaulted. You're supposed to be picking cotton because they want to be slaves. They like being slaves. They're never going to do anything to liberate themselves because they like it. They're natural slaves. Even if you offer them liberation, they would not take it. They want to be enslaved. They want somebody to control them. These people are not even the same as you. They don't think the same way as you. Their motivations are not the same. They don't even think there's a problem. They're perfectly content with their condition of enslavement. And they're perfectly content with you being enslaved. These people are not going to liberate you. You can't help them. You can't focus on them. Focus on your damn self. Leave the damn plantation and let them keep their system of enslavement. You're not going to reform the system. The system can't be reformed. So no, I'm not asking anybody to change the system for me. Keep your fucking system of enslavement. Just don't keep me trapped in your fucking system. I don't want to be a part of your fucking matrix. I did not consent to it. I did not consent to being born. I don't consent to your fucking unjust laws. I don't consent to any of it. If you want to be a slave, have at it. I don't want to be a fucking slave. I don't give a shit how much money you offer me. I don't give a shit how much they talk about how pussy is the weakness of all men. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not straight, so I don't know. Even if you were to offer me dick, I don't want that either. I don't want that either. I choose freedom. None of this shit is fucking worth it. There's not enough money. There's not enough sex that will make me accept a lifetime of enslavement. I don't want this shit. And for those who don't want to be enslaved, I think they shouldn't be enslaved either. Why should you be forced to maintain your involuntary existence so that other people can benefit from it? They want to be enslaved. They deserve to be enslaved because this is exactly what they support. So they want to keep you tethered to you. Don't leave the plantation. Stay here with us. Oh, someday we'll fight against the oppression. Someday we'll liberate ourselves. But for now, during your lifetime, you're never going to see freedom. But you should stay on a plantation so that maybe 1,000 years from now, people can actually see freedom. Fuck that. I want to see freedom during my lifetime. I don't have the patience to wait for somebody else to benefit after I'm already dead. Why should I have to live another 50 years of subjugation just because other people want to be enslaved? What sense does that make? So the reason that they want you to get counseling is so that you can learn to accept, so that you can cope with your enslavement and just adapt to it, so that you can be like the other slaves. You can learn to be a fucking happy slave and coexist and just be just as feckless, be just as unthinking as them, and just accept it. They're not the problem. You're the fucking problem. You should just learn to be a fucking happy slave. Put on a fucking smile and accept it. So if you get some fucking psychological help, they don't have to do anything and they still get to extract from you. So the victims are the ones who need counseling. The victimizers don't. This is collective narcissism. The narcissists never seek treatment because they're having too much fun oppressing other people, exploiting, extracting. But they want the victim to get treatment so they can learn to tolerate the narcissist's abuse. Fuck that. The only way to deal with a narcissist is to fucking go no contact. The only way to deal with collective narcissists who don't give a fuck about you is to go no contact. Deprive them of their fucking narcissistic supply. That in and of itself is a consequence for their fucking oppression. That's how you make them fucking pay. Escape the fucking matrix. So no, I am not begging for special rights. I'm not begging for shit. And I don't even think that the state is necessarily going to decriminalize it. I'm just trying to expose its illegitimacy. I want their illegitimacy to be laid bare, and they're going to expose themselves. They absolutely are. But at the same time, even when they do, because I think they have already exposed themselves, it doesn't matter how much proof you have. You can have the smoking gun. The public is still not going to wake up. The public doesn't give a shit. Again, they like being slaves. They're natural slaves. There's nothing you can do to wake them up. There's nothing you can do to get them to change their conditions. They like things the way they are. They want to struggle. They want incrementalism. So I'm not going to waste my time fighting for them when this is exactly what they want. Now, decriminalization is not for those who want medical assistance. The decriminalization is to protect those who assist. The people like Dr. Kevorkian. Dr. Kevorkian assisted people, and he was thrown in prison for 7 years. He lost his medical license. So for that asshole who says that the state cannot violate natural rights, I think they violated Dr. Kevorkian's natural rights. I think they violated the rights of his patients who actually sought his assistance. They threw him in a fucking cage. They took away his right to earn a livelihood. So the state absolutely can violate your natural rights. You're just too fucking stupid to recognize it. And Dr. Kevorkian had the same agenda that I did. He was intentionally trying to provoke the state. That's why he did the shit on video. He wanted the state to prove his hand, to show his hands, to show how oppressive the state is. These patients were begging for Dr. Kevorkian's help. He provided that help. He did it on camera. He was acquitted 4 times. And then the 5th time, well, they finally got him. And they got him because Dr. Kevorkian was not allowed to present exculpatory evidence. He was not allowed to present evidence of the clients actually begging for his help. That's why these trials are fucking smoke screens. They dictate the rules on which evidence you're allowed to present. You don't get to hear the entire story. Under common law, the jury was the trier of the fact and the law. Now, they're only the trier of facts. They don't get to consider evidence unless the judge allows them to hear it. And of course, these fucking jurors are fucking automatons. They're actually going to listen to the fucking judge's instructions. They're going to be the law-abiding citizens who just do whatever the state tells them to do. The jury is not your fucking, they're not your peers. Now, if you put me on a fucking jury, I'm going to engage in jury nullification. I don't give a shit what evidence you present. I'm not going to side with the fucking state. I'm going to acquit. Unless it's some type of heinous crime where someone was brutally murdered or something like that, I'm not going to convict anybody. I don't support state violence. I'm not going to convict because by convicting, all I'm doing is legitimizing a state. They probably will never put me on a fucking jury. They keep fucking calling me for jury duty, but they never fucking select me. So I have to take off a whole day of work. I don't get compensated for that shit. That shit is slavery too. Forcing me to work against my will is slavery, regardless of what the Supreme Court said. The state does not have any legitimate authority to force me to work without compensation. I'm not a slave. Well, I mean, effectively, I am a slave, but on paper, they're going to say it's not slavery. I'm not enslaved. Serving on a jury without compensation is a public duty. Never mind the fact that I never consented to this fucking duty. I never consented to be a part of the fucking state. I was born into it. There are people who can't afford to serve on fucking jury duty. If they lose a day or a week of pay, they're brought to financial ruin. They don't fucking pay you. They paid me fucking $8 for that whole fucking day, and my parking was $10. So I actually lost $2 to go to their fucking bullshit jury duty, in which I was not chosen in the first place. So it's like they call far more people than they need just in case. So you sit around for 4 or 5 hours, and then they fucking send you home. And then you feel so lucky that they let you go home as if, oh, I'm so blessed to actually go back to my actual job after I've lost a whole day of pay. And because you've been conditioned to accept this slavery, you actually think they did you a favor? No, they didn't do you a fucking favor. They fucked you over by calling you in the first place without fucking paying you. You lost a whole day of pay and you got no compensation for it. And this is the system they want you to be trapped in. They want you to be a fucking sitting duck to live a lifetime of oppression and extraction. So yes, if medical assistance in dying is criminalized, then it has a chilling effect on those who would otherwise assist. Particularly because if a case like that were tried, the fucking ignorant masses would probably convict. Again, if you put me on a fucking jury, I would fucking nullify. It only takes one juror to create a hung jury. I'm not going to convict, but these people would convict. They are the fucking master state. They are the fucking problem. That's why you can't fucking liberate them, because they support it. Now, there's assistance when you want to impose life. When you want to breed a baby into hell, you get all the assistance in the world. You get financial support, you get medical support, emotional support, all the support in the fucking world. Now, when you want to escape your involuntary existence, now you're supposed to go into an abandoned building. Now you're supposed to fucking twirl the Corolla yourself. Why should you have to do that shit? You didn't get yourself into it, so why shouldn't you have assistance in getting yourself out of it? Something that you never chose in the first place. Cats get medical assistance, dogs get medical assistance. Now there was this fucking asshole who I'm not going to call up by name, who was basically throwing shade at me because, according to him, I don't think that animals can benefit from civilization. No, that is not my position at all. I believe that the social contract was primarily supposed to be for the benefit of humans. We're supposed to be the benefactors of the social contract, yet we don't even benefit from it ourselves. The social contract enslaves us. I don't believe civilization actually benefits us. So if it doesn't benefit us, I don't see how it's going to benefit animals. You're trying to frame this as if I'm being specious when I'm actually saying, no, it's actually oppressive to humans. So if it's oppressive to humans, then it's also oppressive to animals. That's why we have fucking factory farming. Now, you had an opportunity to actually go against your harasser, your stalker, the person who has been antagonizing you, making allegations. I fucking defended you. You had the power to fucking take them down. You chose not to do that after I fucking defended you. And instead, you wanted to attack anti-natalists. So the anti-natalists are the problem, not the person who's been trying to smear your reputation, trying to take you down. You didn't want to stand up to him, though. You didn't even want to defend your supporters, the people who actually carried out your philosophy and actually did what you told them. You left them high and dry, too. You wanted to be a fucking Judas Iscariot and then turn your back on them. So Vargas was not one of your fucking disciples. Vargas, I don't have anything to do with him. I'm not going to defend him. I'm just going to attack the anti-natalists. What the fuck? What the fuck? I'm such a fucking coward. I have so much chutzpah to talk shit, but I'm not about that life when it comes down to it. All talk, no fucking action. I haven't done shit. I sound tough. I talk tough. But when my followers actually hear it out, I'm just going to act like I don't know. I don't know you. I'm going to pull Mariah Carey and say, oh, I don't know him. Really? Is that what we're doing? Why is there so much for the fucking anti-natalists? Because it's the same shit. It's this fucking toxic masculinity bullshit. You don't want to punch up. You want to punch down because that doesn't require any fucking courage. And I don't fucking respect that. Why don't you stand up to the people who are a real threat to you? No, you're not going to stand up to your fucking oppressors. That fucking troll stalker attorney who's been terrorizing me and you had an opportunity to fucking take him down, but you chose not to do that. I don't know why. I just don't understand your logic. I don't understand it. I don't fucking respect it at all. So the anti-natalists who have never done anything to you, we're the problem, but you're fucking antagonizer. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyway, let me get back to what I was just talking about. They create this false dichotomy where they assume that if you don't want to live, then you want to die. No. I don't want to live, and I also don't necessarily want to die. It's not like I'm afraid to die, but I don't want to die in a gruesome way that's painful. Dying is not a choice. Nobody wants to fucking die. They see it as the lesser of two evils, living a life of drudgery or dying to escape it. They were put in this matrix against their consent, and they see dying as the only way out. It doesn't mean that they actually want to die. I don't necessarily want to die. I don't. Which is why I need fucking medical assistance, because it's difficult enough. This is why it needs to be fucking decriminalized. I need all the fucking support I can fucking get. The same way my life enslavers had all this fucking support when they decided to read me into fucking hell. I want support in fucking escaping it. I should not have to toil the Corolla myself. I should not have to go into an abandoned building. I should not have to become a criminal to exercise a natural right. If I have to become a criminal, then ipso facto, positive law is violating natural law. The state is violating my natural fucking rights. You fucking idiot. But again, they want to pathologize you. They want to say that because you haven't done it, which you by the way, you shouldn't be put in a position to have to do it in the first place because you didn't ask for this shit. Now they want to blame you and say it's your fault. He literally said he said, whose fault is it that you got caught or that you didn't pull it off? Whose fault is it? And then when I said you're blaming the victim, I never said that. Yes, the fuck you did. They want to say that you're a coward because you don't want to do it alone. They want to say that you're just seeking attention. They want to conflate rights with abilities, that because you have the ability to do it on your own, that is the same as having a right. No, the fuck it is not. A right is something under this fucking bullshit social contract, which we're forced to exist under the fucking social contract, rights are entitlements that the state is required to honor. So if the state does not recognize it, then it is violating your rights. The mere fact that you have the ability to do something, the mere fact that you have the ability to become a criminal does not transform that ability into a right. Again, I explain all of this in my book, but some of you don't want to read. And I'm not saying that you necessarily need to read my book. The only benefit of reading my book is that I have compiled it myself after doing the reading myself. So doing the reading yourself is going to be a lot more laborious than just reading my fucking book, because I've already put it together. You can read my sources and cross-reference. You don't necessarily have to read my book. You can research it yourself. I'm just saying I've saved you more time because I've already put it together. And I'm not necessarily trying to make money. I've already offered it for free. I've read it online for free. The material is there. It is far more important for you to get the knowledge than it is for me to make money. The state does not give a fuck about you. The state is only interested in its own extraction. You're too valuable. They said it right in the Glucksworks case. How you're so valuable to the collective in the extraction. You're so valuable, and I don't have the quote in front of me. Let me see if I can find it. Sorry, y'all. Bear with me because I don't want to butcher this quote. I really want to make sure I get this right. Okay. This is the direct quote from this Glucksberg concurring opinion. The state has an interest in preserving and let me start over. The state has an interest in preserving and fostering the benefits that every human being may provide to the community, a community that thrives on the exchange of ideas, expressions of affection, shared memories, and humorous incidents, as well as on the material contributions that its members create and support. The values to others of a person's life is far too precious to allow the individual to claim a constitutional entitlement to complete autonomy and making a decision to end that life. That is the fucking Supreme Court telling you why you don't have the right to terminate your own life. Because you're too fucking valuable to the damn collective. That is the state telling you why they are violating your natural rights. They want you to be subjugated because you're so beneficial, because you're so fucking productive. So no, I think I have thoroughly explained why decriminalization is not the same as legalization. It is not even close. I am not begging the state for any special privilege. I don't want the state involved. What I want to do is to get the state off my fucking neck. I want to remove the fucking gatekeeping. I want the state to get out the way so that I can enter a private contract and exercise my natural right. So that I can hire a person of my choosing. That person can assist me without the risk of facing criminal prosecution, without the risk of losing their medical license. So the protection is not necessarily for me, it's for the person who wants to assist. Now, if you don't want to support it, nobody's asking you to support. I don't know why nobody came to you, nobody asked you to support me at all or support my right. You don't support it. You're lost cause. My book has already accounted for people like you. You're a fucking distraction. You have nothing to fucking offer. You want to gaslight me and tell me that I have a right that I'm not allowed to exercise. Again, it's not about me being able to do it. It's about the chilling effect that it has on those who would like to assist. They are the ones who would face consequences. I don't need you to fucking mansplain me about what I already know. I don't need you to tell me what I already have the ability to do. I fucking know that shit already. I'm probably smarter than you. I'm not even going to, I mean, again, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I am. Especially when it comes to this particular topic. You can't tell me shit that I don't fucking already know. I have no questions. I only have answers on this specific topic. You can't teach me shit. So if you, I'm not saying somebody, maybe there is somebody who can educate me. Maybe somebody else can give me something that I have not considered. But you specifically, the architect of humanity, no. Whatever your fucking name, Max, whatever the fuck it was, no. You can't teach me shit. The only thing you can do is ask me questions so that I can fucking educate your ignorant ass. Now let's go through some of these fucking comments. Do no harm by modern doctors is a sick joke anyway, exactly. First of all, doctors did harm when they assisted your parents and breeding you into health. So they already did harm. When the doctors assisted your parents in committing a battery and forcing you to exist against your will, they already cause harm. No, that's not Alan. Alan has already been banned from this channel for trolling. Alan decided to come up here and proselytize us into his degenerate, sacrificial struggle diet. I gave him an opportunity to come up here and actually present his position. He didn't want to do it. He just wanted to troll in the comment section. So he has been blocked. He's no longer welcome on this channel. I just want to say, when I do live streams, I guess I can open it up, but I don't always intend to do a panel discussion. Usually when okay, I can post a link, but I do want to get through these comments. So I'm not going to bring you up until I get through these comments. Right. They want to take away your options. So he's saying, oh, you can already do it on your own. Okay, fine. But I want additional options, because if I don't want that option, I want the freedom to choose a different option. How about that? And again, this is axiomatic. He already knew what the fuck I was talking about, and he was gaslighting me. I'm trying to find a comment to respond to. I'm not going to go through all of them. No. Like I said, it should be a private contract. What is the age at which a person has the capacity to enter a contract? 12-year-olds don't have the capacity to enter a contract. 14-year-olds don't have the capacity to contract. 16-year-olds don't have the capacity to contract. You have to be an adult. What is the age of being an adult? It is not 12, it is not 14, it is not 16. So I hope that answers your question. The gaslighting is real. I never said anything about any damn children. Definitely remind people about the differences between between liberty and freedom, rights versus no rights necessary. Exactly. But I don't know if these people don't understand it, or they're just gaslighting me. Because if they just don't know, then I don't mind teaching them. I don't mind doing that. But some of these people are resisting being educated. They're just gaslighting me. And yeah, I don't have patience for that. I don't. Right. And that's the part that is the most, egregious about this whole thing. The most daunting thing about this whole thing is that we don't have rights. When you sue a state official who has violated your rights, destroyed your property, or deprive you of your natural rights, you don't have the right to earn a livelihood, they're going to lose because they're sovereign. They're sovereign. It doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter what the facts are. you don't have the right to sue the state because the state is fucking sovereign, which means that you're a fucking slave. So why should you have to be a slave under their fucking system? Why should they get the benefit of having slaves? And of course, their fucking solution is to start a fucking township, a political subdivision of the state in which the state is sovereign and the township is not. These fucking bullshit solutions make no fucking sense. I've already considered all of them. Instead of just spouting bullshit, just ask me a fucking question. I can tell you why that is not a solution. But you just want to lecture and just tell me shit that I already know. No, you're wasting my fucking time. By the way, when they tell you to get help, the shit is at your expense. Even if you wanted to get some quote-unquote help, you're relegated to getting the quote-unquote help from those who are licensed from the fucking state. So if you want to get help from someone else who you think may actually provide that help, well, they're not licensed, so you can't get help from the person who may actually be able to help you. You're only allowed to get help from someone who's licensed by the state, who's going to charge you $800 an hour. So you're going to get this massive bill, all this fucking extraction, which doesn't benefit you because you've already told them what you want. They're not going to allow you to do it. So this quote unquote help does not benefit you. It benefits the collective, yet you're the one who has to pay for it. They want you to get help so that they can extract from you, so that you can learn to cope with your fucking oppression. Right, and that's something that I'm glad you said that, because I almost forgot to mention something. That architects of humanity asshole was blithely ignorant of the fact that getting quote unquote help does not liberate you from the system. I'm so glad now I get to explain it, because what it does is it pushes you further into the system. That is the whole purpose of it. Now you're going to be a witness against yourself. Now you're going to incriminate yourself. Now you're going to give the state all of this evidence for why you should not be entitled to liberty. Everything that you said, all of your statements that you gave to these mental health professionals, they're going to weaponize it against you. In fact, they have a duty to weaponize it against you. They have to turn it over to the state. So you were fucking stupid enough to think that what you told them was said in confidence. No. Everything that you said is going to be documented and turned over to the state. They're going to take away your right to own a gun. They may put you on psychiatric confinement. You have given them all the evidence that they needed. So you don't actually liberate yourself. You make yourself even more subjugated. You got nothing out of it. Counseling does not exist in the state of nature. Animals don't call 988 when they're in distress. Counseling is a social construct. Never before in history have humans needed counseling in order to get through life. The mere fact that people need counseling in order to get through their life with drudgery is proof in and of itself that life is not worth living. If you have to get counseling, if you have to get medicated in order to get through life, then that sounds like a sentence. You have a life sentence that you have to get through it, and you need drugs and counseling in order to make it through. Doesn't benefit you, it benefits everybody else. So they can't explain why you have to struggle, why you have to go through all this rigmarole to get through your life of drudgery so that other people can benefit from it. Now, if I had children, that would be a different case. That would be a completely different scenario. If I had children and if I had a duty to care for these children, yes, it would be absolutely beneficial to get counseling and medication so that I can fulfill my duty to my children to take care of them. I don't have a duty. I don't have any children. I don't owe anybody shit. So getting counseling does not benefit me, and I don't owe a duty to anyone else. So what would be the benefit of me getting counseling so that everyone else can extract from me? No, I'm not doing that shit. I appreciate that though. I don't know which part was a bar, but yeah, when I'm done with this, I'll let AI run some clicks because I'm not sure. I'm sure there's probably random bars in here that I'm just not aware of it. Because I'm just I'm just presenting truth as I see it. Understand things that are self-evident. It does blow me that people will fight to continue to work for a plantation and will even help the slave masters keep you imprisoned in a plantation. Right. Because they are the fucking master state. These are the fucking oppressors. That's why you can't fucking help them. Not only can you help them, but you should not trust them. Don't tell them your plans. Don't tell them shit. They have no loyalty to you. They don't give a fuck about you. They want to keep you trapped in the fucking matrix. That's why they tell you to get some fucking help. Because once you get the fucking help, you're giving the state all the fucking ammunition it needs to keep you trapped in the fucking matrix. Gaslighters are always the motherfuckers that lived on easy street economy, dating, overall job, and career advantages, then want to talk shit. Right. They are, not only are they living life on an easy street, they're the ones who are making everybody else miserable in the first place. The reason that they enjoy life so much is because they are oppressing other people. These are the fucking capitalists who extract from other people's labor. These are the fucking statists who get some kind of sadistic pleasure out of controlling other people. They like enslaving people. These are the fucking puppeteers of society. These are the only people who are enjoying life. The only people. Their happiness comes at your fucking expense. So of course they enjoy life. They're morally bankrupt. They're going to get theirs, and you need to figure out how you're going to get yours. They don't concern themselves with helping other people. They're extracting from you. The slaves recognize some, if not maybe a lot of the BS in the system they operate in, but they will continue to work for it despite what they partially understand. They are masochists that love suffering. They feel as though they're going to be rewarded in the next life. Lord Jesus Christ got me. He sees my trials and tribulations. I'm the strongest slave. Right. They want to be the strongest. They don't want to be liberated. They want to be the strongest slave. They think there's something noble about enduring their oppression. You're weak because you just decided to leave the plantation. They want to stay. They want to be long suffering. Exactly. Exactly. I don't want to legalize it. I want to decriminalize it. I think those are two different things. Well, I have already posted the link. I don't. I'm almost done with these comments, but if you're, excuse me, I've already posted the link. If nobody comes up by the time I'm done, then I'm going to end this live stream. Well, I don't. I just posted it again. Okay, yeah, I don't like the, like, you know, because I don't have. I'm kind of out of things to say. I don't like this space where I'm not talking, because then it just feels awkward, and there's no more comments for me to read. So I'm gonna read this last comment, and then well, if we want suffering to stop, then we have to cease to be, and that is being the only way to stop it. Right. They have to either give us liberty or give us death. They're not going to give us either one. They just want you to be a fucking sitting duck. Loon, I don't know if you're coming up, but I'm out of things to say, and I don't. I mean, it's awkward for me to just sit here, so I don't. I guess I'm going to end this live stream because I don't know if you're coming up. And all right, y'all. Y'all have a good day. I do want to talk about Trump and the economy, but I just wanted to clarify my position on decriminalization, because I know people said they couldn't hear the one with the Skeletor music. So a lot of this I've already said in that other one, but at least you can hear me clearly now. So no more Skeletor music, and I'm going to end it because I don't think Loon is coming up, because yeah, I think there's been more than enough time. So y'all have a good day, and I think I'll be doing another live stream tomorrow.